Good evening, Trinity.
Good evening.
Jump right in there. Good to see you tonight. This is going to be our 5 o'clock Friday evening devotional, and we are waiting for some others to join us. There's Mama, so that means they're watching us
In the fellowship hall.
in the fellowship hall, yeah. And I asked Benjamin if I needed to set it up for him. Miss Julie's watching. Hi, Julie. Hope you're doing all right. Hope you're staying out of the heat and taking care of yourself. We're going to give everybody just a minute or two to join us since we are doing this live. We can't very well wait for everybody to join us when we pre-recorded, but we're live tonight. And our devotional is going to be what I told you about last week. We're going to do a Bible story time. And 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I had Benjamin in here and let him pick a Bible story, asked him for his favorite Bible story. And I've asked Madeline for her favorite Bible story, and so we'll jump into that in just a moment. But have you had a good day?
Yeah.
Have you done anything fun today?
Mm-hmm.
You want to tell us a little bit about it?
I played with Benjamin.
You played with Benjamin, okay. Did y'all play a game?
Yeah.
What did y'all play?
I know that we did where we push a block out where...
Jenga. Yeah,
Jenga?
y'all played Jenga. Who won?
Benjamin won and I won.
Oh, okay. So everybody won. Don't kick the desk, okay. Did y'all play something else? I know he asked me to get something else down.
The memory game.
The memory game. You had trouble remembering that one?
Yeah.
So was the memory game tough for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. He wanted me to get Kerplunk down, but that just seemed like a mess. Just seemed like a mess. Looks like somebody else joined us. There's Miss Latresa. Say hi to Miss Latresa.
Hi.
Good to see you. So what was your favorite thing you did today?
When I got to play games with Benjamin.
Oh, we're just playing games with Benjamin? Yeah. Are you looking forward to the 4th of July?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Got big plans for the 4th of July?
No.
No. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get started, and I'll preface this because tonight's is going to be a little bit different from what it usually is. I'll preface this by saying that a few days ago, in the morning, I was sitting there having breakfast with Charla and talking to her about these Friday night devotionals, and she looked at me and she said, "You know, Benjamin and Madeline are different people." And I just kind of looked at her like, I think I asked her, is this going to be one of these deep metaphysical discussions? Because it's too early in the morning for that. She said, no, I mean, they're different kinds of people, and you ought to do the Bible story time differently. And she's got a point. Those of you who have raised children know that kids can have the same parents and grow up in the same household. They can even look alike, but be very, very different. You and Benjamin are different, aren't you?
Yep.
Okay.
Because Benjamin normally plays superheroes and dinosaurs. I'm like, no.
Yeah. What do you like to play?
Normally princesses.
Princesses. Couldn't there be a dinosaur princess?
No.
No. Okay. It does not work that way. You heard it here first. So 2 weeks ago, I had Benjamin on here, and he picked a Bible story. And we just talked about it, and he liked that. Mama pointed out, if I just do a Bible story and talk to you, not that you're not interested in the Bible, but if you don't like to just sit here and listen to me talk.
I do.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Well, you might like it, but you're going to zone out real quick. So I came up with a different plan that I'm going to tell the story, but I made these. And I was telling Madeline about it, that when I was a kid, they had paper dolls. Now, I didn't. They made them for the girls, because I played with Army men, and they didn't make paper soldiers, probably because it was during the Cold War, and that would have sent the wrong idea to the Soviets if Americans were running around with paper soldiers. But they had paper dolls, and you could dress them up. Stick it a little closer where they can see it. Sis. There you go. So that's my delightful artwork, and these are our little puppets or dolls, whatever you want to call it. You like dolls, don't you?
Yeah.
You play with dolls a lot. So I figured this would be fun for her, and hopefully it's fun for you all as well. But the story she picked tonight was the story about Elijah and the widow. And if you remember back to 2 weeks ago, Benjamin wanted the story of Elijah at Mount Carmel. I said, all your stories don't have to be Elijah, but that's what they picked. So this is the story of Elijah and the widow, and we're going to tell it, and we're going to act it out with our dolls, puppets, whatever you want to call it. And
our objects with them. With our objects with them.
Objects, yes. I was like, I don't know what you're saying to me. Do I need to do the voices?
No.
You don't want me to do the voices?
You can.
No, I'm asking, do you want me to do voices?
Yes.
Oh, okay. When we read books together at night, she's more entertained when I read with voices. So, except during Little Women, that was hard to do because I couldn't keep up that high voice the whole time. All right. So, we have here our main characters, Elijah. Then who is this?
The widow.
The widow. And that's
her son.
Timmy?
Timmy?
No, it's her son. They don't name him in the Bible. So, we are in, if you'd like to join us, 1 Kings chapter 17. 1 Kings chapter 17. And we're going to start in verse 8. This is right after Elijah has been down at the brook. He's been fed by the ravens, and he's been drinking from the brook. But suddenly the brook dries up because there had been no rain. And so God sends Elijah to find food somewhere else that God had prepared. So verse 8 says, Then the word of the Lord came to him, saying, Arise, go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and dwell there. See, I have commanded a widow, show us the widow. I've commanded a widow there to provide for you. So he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, indeed, a widow was there, and she was there gathering
sticks.
So Elijah walks up to her and says, Hello. And she says, I'm gathering sticks. All right, so that's how we know that that's what happened. And he called to her, this is verse 10, he called to her and said, Please bring me a little water in a cup that I may drink. And as she was going to get it, so she needs to go get it now. Yeah, never turn your back to the audience. There you go. She's going to go get the drink. While she was going to get it, he called to her and said, Please bring me a morsel of bread in your hand. Bring me some bread, right? Mm-hmm. So she said, she ready to say? Don't turn your back to the audience. As the Lord your God lives, I do not have bread, only a handful of flour in a bin and a little oil in a jar. And see, I am gathering a couple of sticks that I may go in and prepare it for myself and my son that we may eat it and die. So that, how bad is this bread? That they're going to eat it and then they're going to be like, is it bad bread? No, it's not bad bread. It's that's all they have left. So if she takes her flour and her oil and she mixes them together and makes bread and then they eat that bread, but that's all the oil and flour there were, what happens to them after that?
They don't.
Yeah, because they starved to death, right? So it's a bad situation. Why is there no oil or flour?
Because they're poor?
No, because King Ahab was wicked and God said there would be no rain for so many years. All right. So she told him, we're going to eat. We just have a little bit. I don't have anything to make you. We just have a little bit. I'm going to cook it up. We're going to eat it. And then after that, we're just going to sit here and starve to death. And Elijah said to her, she ready to listen?
Yeah.
Put her where people can see her. Elijah said to her, verse 13, Do not fear. Go and do as you have said, but make me a small cake from it first, and bring it to me, and afterwards make some for yourself and your son. For thus says the Lord God of Israel, The bin of flour shall not be used up, nor shall the jar of oil run dry, until the day the Lord sends rain on the earth. Okay? So what did he tell her to do?
To make her some bread.
Yeah, he said, go ahead and make the cake, make the bread, but let me have it, and then there will be some left for you. Now, do you think she believes him? She must, but wouldn't that be hard to believe?
Yeah.
He just wants the last of our bread. Okay? So, but he made a promise, and that promise actually came from who?
God.
God. God promised that if she fed him, what would happen?
She would not, her oil and her flour never run out.
It would never, ever run out. Okay, so she gathers up her sticks, and oh, no. What bam? Fire. That's why she was gathering the sticks, right? To cook with. Okay. Oh, you just killed Timmy.
He's not Timmy.
We don't know his name. All right. So she comes over to the fire, and she adds in a little bit of flour. And a little bit of oil. And boom. Or as Emerald would say, bam, bread pops out. Okay? I wish it was that simple in real life. All right. So the bread, she's got that little bit of bread that she was going to make for herself and her son. And she instead gives it to Elijah. Do you want to have her give it to Elijah? It's a little hard when they don't have arms, right? They're kind of like Veggie Tales here. So she went away and did according to the word of Elijah, and she and her household ate for many days. Because, just as God promised, she's here and she's got her bin of flour and she's got her jug of oil, and they never, ever ran dry, did they? And so she had, I'm trying to find all my pieces here. She had bread enough for her still, and she had bread enough for her son. Let him hold his bread. Let them see it.
Yeah.
Oh, he dropped his bread. That's okay because there's more, right? It never runs out. All right. So it never ran out according to the word of the Lord, which he spoke by Elijah. Verse 17 says, now it happened after these things that the son of the woman who owned the house, I've been calling him Timmy, but we don't know his name. The son of the woman who owned the house became sick. Oh, I feel sick. Okay? And his sickness was so serious that there was no breath left in him. So she said to Elijah, is she ready to talk to Elijah? Okay, he's sick. Elijah! All right. She said, what have I to do with you, O man of God? You got to shake her like she's talking, like she's getting into it. What have I to do with you, O man of God? Have you come to bring my sin to remembrance and to kill my son? Okay? So she basically says, what have I done to you that you came and you brought your God with you and I helped you, but after I helped you, my son ended up dead. Okay? So she's seen what God can do, but she's still not totally convinced, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So God shows her an even greater miracle. And Elijah said, give me your son. See? He's carrying the son. Give me your son. So he took him out of her arms and carried him to the upper room. So they're going upstairs where he was staying, and he laid him on his own bed. Then he cried out to the Lord and said, O Lord my God, have you brought tragedy on the widow with whom I lodge by killing her son? Now, Elijah's not blaming God. He's just saying, is this part of your plan? Elijah's trying to figure out what's happening here because he's got a dead kid there and a mom who's very sad. Can she cry a little bit? Yeah, she's sad. She's very sad. And he stretched himself out on the child 3 times and cried out to the Lord and said, O Lord my God, I pray, let this child's soul come back to him. Okay, and I'm not trying to make light of this. I'm just acting it out for Madeline. So he bows over the kid and prays 3 times to God. And he said, O Lord my God, I pray, let this child's soul come back to him. Then the Lord heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came back to him, and he revived. And Elijah took the child, carried him, and brought him down from the upper room into the house and gave him to his mother. Can she hold Timmy now? Okay. Gave him to his mother. He can be Timmy if I want to be, unless God saw fit to include the name. And Elijah said, see, your son lives. And the woman said to Elijah, now by this I know that you are a man of God, and that the word of the Lord in your mouth is the truth. So, she said, now what? What was her response now that she saw her son alive again?
She was happy.
She was happy, but she said, now I know that everything you've been saying about God is true. Right? It finally convinced her, because you know what? When you're looking for proof that God is everything he says he is, there's not much better proof than somebody coming back from the dead. Can you think of another example of where that happened?
No.
You can't think of somebody else who came back from the dead?
Lazarus?
Yeah, and who else? Jesus, right? And when Jesus came back from the dead, he proved that he was God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he proved that God's word is true. All right, so what happened in this story is at every turn, God told the woman, trust me just a little bit more, and I'll show you something incredible. Trust me with this food. Well, she did. And did God provide like he promised?
Mm-hmm.
He did. And then she learned to trust God a little bit, but she still wasn't totally convinced. And when her son died, what happened?
He rose from the dead.
Yeah, well, she got mad at God first, but God said, I'm going to show you something. And God proved that he was more powerful than anything they could face, right? So why is this your favorite Bible story?
Because it teaches you that God will never stop giving up on you.
Okay, God, and kind of that God can do anything, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So what did you learn from this?
That God can do anything.
Okay, God can do anything. Yeah. And he takes care of his people, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He takes care of everyone.
Yeah, he does.
But Satan.
But, well, he'll take care of Satan one day.
Yep.
But not in a good way, right?
No.
All right, guys, I think that that pretty well concludes our Bible lesson. If you learn nothing else, I hope the voices and the puppets weren't off-putting for you, but kids are part of the church too, and we need to teach them in a way that'll engage them too, and that's what worked for her. So I hope, if nothing else, you've taken this as a reminder that God always lives up to his words, to his word. God always keeps his promises, and God takes care of us. So it's a reminder, just like to the woman, to have faith in God. When he says he'll do something, he'll do it.
Everybody should.
Everybody should. So we're going to go have some dinner and enjoy the 4th of July. Hope you do too. And let me pray for you before we go. Or do you want to pray for them?
I'll pray.
You'll pray. All right. Then lead us in prayer.
Dear Jesus, thank you for everything you've done for us. Thank you for being so good for us, God. You've shown many miracles during this time. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Love you guys. Enjoy your holiday weekend, and we'll see you Sunday.
Bye.